What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Z-List Cars, where today we'll be doing our first hands-on Z-List car review, and I'm very excited to share this one with you. If this is not your first time here, thanks for tuning back in, and I'm sorry for the long delay. As you know, life has a way of getting in the way of other plans sometimes. But if it is your first time here, thank you for tuning in. I hope you like what you see, and if you do, please consider subscribing so we can do more stuff like this. Because behind me is a 2017 BMW X5. And this is actually not your standard X5. The most common X5 sold is designated xDrive 35i after the model name of X5, and that indicates that it has the standard inline six-cylinder engine, turbocharged 3-liter, about 300 horsepower, and the X5 has many options and variants, but that is by far the most common. It has plenty of power, it's plenty of fun to drive for most people, excellent fuel economy in fact for being what it is, a pretty powerful mid-size SUV, and it sells very, very well. But this is the xDrive 50i. The 50 designating the 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8, making 445 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque, hooked up to an 8-speed ZF automatic transmission and xDrive all-wheel drive. This is a rather special car, in my opinion, that is rather understated and underappreciated in the market. While there may be some concerns as time and mileage go on with maintaining these beasts, what we're going to talk about today is why this represents such a special value in the ever increasingly popular area of high-performance SUVs. So what we're going to do today is have a little exterior walk around, go over some of the features, some of the optional stuff that this particular one has, talk about some of the interior touches, the technology, the infotainment, and take a drive, get some driving impressions, and overall, again, talk about why I feel this represents an excellent value for someone looking at the high-performance class of SUVs and maybe can settle for one that's slightly less flashy, but still plenty fast. I've borrowed this beautiful 8-cylinder X5 from Highline Auto House, an excellent pre-owned luxury car dealership in Charlotte, North Carolina that specializes in off-lease, one-owner luxury cars that have taken a nice hit in depreciation and are available for excellent prices with excellent quality. Check them out at highlineautohouse.com. Before we get too in-depth on the features and equipment that this particular X5 has and what makes this one an attractive deal, I'm going to talk a little bit about why I think this is up there with the big dogs of the performance SUV arena. So what I'm talking about are options like the Range Rover Sport SVR, the Range Rover Autobiographies with the supercharged V8, Mercedes-Benz AMG options that are going to be competitors to this, like a GLE 63 AMG, maybe even a GLE 43 AMG. And almost all Mercedes SUVs have an AMG variant that are fast, fun, come with a lot more equipment, like BMWs with the bigger motors do. And also Porsche Cayenne Turbo. The list kind of goes on. But in the pre-owned market, and I consider this to be a lightly pre-owned vehicle, it's a 2017 with just 28,000 miles. If I'm comparing it to similar models like I just mentioned, Porsche Cayenne Turbos, GLE 63 AMGs, Range Rover Autobiographies, and such, they're going to generally come in at 30 to 40% less in a lightly used market if we're talking about, let's say, a 2017. And with how car and driver clocked a 0 to 60 time of 4.3 seconds with this 4,500-pound SUV, I think it's basically right up there with the big dogs, despite the fact that the M, I believe, is a little bit under 4 seconds. But for the price, that is very impressive. And let me talk just a little bit about price. So this particular one right here, this 2017 X5 xDrive 50i, had an original MSRP of about $86,000, okay? The price today is half of that. With 28,000 miles, one owner, no accidents, factory warranty still intact, and in beautiful condition, I think that's something special, and I think that represents a bit of an underappreciated value in the market for these kind of vehicles. All right, we're going to start here with a little exterior walk around, talking about what makes this particular one special. So let's start with the color. Black sapphire metallic has always been BMW's metallic pearlescent black color, and so it's a very pretty black with some gold mica flakes in it, and it really does stand out versus jet black, and I'll get closer on that in just a minute here. The exterior package is mainly what the M Sport trim enhances here. What I mean by that is you get the wheels, front bumper, and a lot of other small styling elements that we're about to go over. So the wheels on this one happen to be the optional 20 inchers, which look very nice in my opinion, and are very right in line with BMW's history of having a lot of M cars feature kind of a double 5-spoke design. And one nice thing you get when you get the 20s on these 8-cylinder models is you get these flared out little fender arches that kind of cover the space a little better, as the wheels on these M Sport X5s, especially the 8-cylinder ones, are generally offset a little and come with wider tires. That's right, you generally have some very wide tires on these 315 series out back. The M Sport models also always come with the gloss black window surround trim, and you also get gloss black on the roof rails as well, which these bits are almost always normally chrome on the standard cars. On all X5s, comfort access keyless entry, at least on the 8-cylinder models, is standard. These little ridges on the doors here, you press to lock it, or you simply put your hand behind to unlock it. Now, the lesser BMWs of this era, the 3 Series, the X3 and such, X1, they only have comfort access on the front doors. Once you get up to models like the X5, you get them on the back doors as well. Obviously, the 50i here is noted. Most people in traffic would just assume you have an M Sport version of the standard 6-cylinder 35i because the badging can be hard to see, but that badge means quite a difference in terms of motor. The front bumper is quite enhanced over the standard car. So you have these 3 large air dams here, the 2 on the side, the 1 in the middle, and all the mesh behind them. Now obviously the lighting isn't so good here where I'm filming, but you kind of get the idea, and it's a much sportier, much more enhanced look over the standard car. That'll capture it a little better there. I like how the fog lights are integrated into this M Sport bumper. And this particular one has the lighting package as well. So as you see these little vertical, or I should say horizontal bits in the headlights here, those are your LEDs. And the standard car does come with adaptive xenon headlamps, but these are adaptive LEDs. Adaptive meaning as you turn the steering wheel, they will turn with you and help you see around any corners you might be going around. All right, coming around back as well, you have the enhanced rear fascia, I should say the enhanced rear end with these large trapezoidal exhaust finishers integrated into the bumper coming right out. It's a very sharp look. All these F15 generation X5s also have LED taillights as well, and BMWs have adaptive LED taillights, which means the harder you step on the brake pedal, the brighter the LEDs light up. Another cool thing about the X5 has always been this 2-tier tailgate. What I mean by that is, you see I open the top portion here, and then you come back, you can open the bottom portion as well. So you can sit down, you can still have some shelter over your head as you're sitting, and for people like me who like to do some outdoorsy stuff, maybe you're coming back from fishing and you want to change your shoes, you can sit there, have a place to rest, and you still have cover if it starts raining. So that's mainly the exterior of this beautiful X5. Let's move on inside. All right, heading inside this beautiful interior, we first get to enjoy the ever luxurious feature, which is soft closed doors. Check it out. If you didn't see that, let me try that one more time. Yep, the door has an actuator in there, and it pulls the door shut for you if you didn't close it hard enough, so you'll never have a situation where you go down the road with a door that's not fully secured. All right, climbing inside the X5. X5 has always been a beautiful size for a mid-size SUV, I think. Not too big, not too small. And on these, you're greeted by some excellent high-end materials. Plenty of wood, plenty of beautiful leather. This particular one is optioned with more of like a walnut trim, while some have more of an aluminum or metallic or different types of woods. M Sport model includes many small touches like the door sill plates you see here as you get in with the M colors. Steering wheel is actually fully unique to the M Sport model here. So you have this thicker rim, you have the M Sport labeling here, and you also get the multi-contour seats. So you get seats that have this adjustable, extendable thigh rest where it kind of supports underneath your knees, and you get inflatable side bolsters here so they can kind of hold your body more or less in place. I don't know if you can kind of see that adjustment happening there. With the sporting nature of BMWs, they do a great job. You do have the comfort headrest here, so you can kind of adjust that almost like a luxury first-class airplane seat. And in addition to the reclining action of the car here, you have an articulating backrest, which BMWs have offered on comfort seats for some years, where the top portion will fold forward as well. If you can kind of see that, but that offers some excellent adjustability and support for those long drives especially. Now, one thing I love on the 8-cylinder models here is you get upgraded amounts of leather. So this whole bit of Napa leather and the double French stitching that adorns the upper part of the door panel, in addition to the fully leather stitched dashboard here, this is not standard, this is not common on any of the 6-cylinder models, very hard to find in fact. And as you can see here, part of the executive package, we have a heads-up display. I don't know if you can kind of see the 0 miles per hour right here, and that is also going to actually reflect your trip information, your navigation instructions, and any traffic updates about closures, delays, and such. So we have the standard iDrive, which in 2017 is actually the 5.0. iDrive 5.0 is the first time in BMW's history, since coming up with iDrive, that it is a touchscreen. So you can also use the standard controllers here, which feature ceramic coating, which is like a glaze. This actually finish here that's on the shifter and the iDrive controller, this beautiful higher end sort of reflective dark gray material is an upgrade, and it's actually also standard on the buttons here in the center stack. One of my favorite features of these modern cars is right here in the center console, and this is wireless charging. This little strap right here, all you have to do is put your phone in there and it charges up wirelessly, and that is super convenient. All right, coming around back, with that executive package I was talking about, with the soft closed doors for the exterior and that ceramic glaze over the controls inside that I was talking about, you also get that heads-up display I pointed out. You also get the rear manual window shades, or as the straight pipes like to call them, peasant blockers, so that you are not having to be burdened with additional amounts of sunlight or seeing anyone that drives in lesser cars than your X5 50i. Back seat is pretty comfortable and roomy. This particular one does have the cold weather package, so you do have your heated rear seat controls here, and you do have 4-zone automatic climate control, so you can each set your own temperature zone back here. And one thing I've always loved about the F15 BMW X5 is the ambient lighting situation. Now, I think you're going to get it very much in this video, but above the wood trim here that I'm zooming in on, this whole strip right here represents one of the little LED strips of ambient lighting that lights up when the vehicle is a little darker inside, especially at night. And you have it all around the front of the interior, on every door panel, and you can see it a little better in the back here with the shades up, if you see what I mean. I mean, this is a big trend in the business these days, but these have had it since 2014 standard, and it's super cool at night. It's almost like a nightclub vibe, especially some years ago when it wasn't as common. I mean, it's not a full color spectrum, but you can change it from, white and orange, the traditional BMW lighting, to purple or green or blue. It's really, really cool, and it adds a nice modern touch. Another nice thing is that the X5 50i comes standard with the Harman Kardon surround sound system with 16 speakers and about 600 watts, I believe. All right, guys, another wonderful thing about these X5 xDrive 50i's are the sound of that twin turbo V8. Take a listen. All right, driving the 2017 X5 50i, or 5.0 as my coworkers and I affectionately called these when I used to work for BMW. I mean, it really is a special car. They really make so many fewer of these than the standard 6-cylinder 35i. And the 35s are great. I mean, the X5 overall, there's a reason it's so popular. It brings the BMW drive and style, which is very distinct and special, to the SUV, and this has always been just the right size. I mean, when I worked at a BMW dealership, we got one of these for every 10 six-cylinders, and there's a reason. This is 150 horsepower more than the standard car, and 480 pound-feet of torque. It's just not something I can explore right here in my neighborhood that I'm pulling out of, but we'll get a little feel for that in a second. One of the first things you notice as you drive these is the light steering, the electric power steering, which again, as I mentioned earlier, has been a beef with many BMW enthusiasts and kind of sports car people. They just don't have the tight connected feel that the older BMWs had, although they are getting better with that. But right now I'm in comfort mode, so obviously that's going to give you the most assist with low speed, especially steering. It is a speed sensitive power steering anyways. Going into sport mode here, let's give it a little gas. Yeah, so these 5.0 models, as we'll call them from now on, as I said, used to be my nickname for them, they just never, this N63 V8, it just never feels like it's breaking a sweat in the slightest. I mean, you give it just a hint, especially in sport mode where the engine mapping and the programming is designed to give you a lot more engine power with just a little gas pedal input. Even in comfort mode, you step on it quickly about halfway or maybe a quarter of the way down the throttle. It kicks down and you are instantly thrown back into your seat. And that torque, that 480 pound-feet of torque, man, that is just, you can tell it's available from very low. Yeah, you got to be careful with these because they are going to be way too much for many situations. So I'm kind of hitting a road closure here that I forgot about. So let's turn around and let's give this another little workout here. I don't know if you can hear that, but you know, since this is a twin turbo V8, you really don't have much of any turbo lag to speak of because you got 8 cylinders working for you already. And as much as I'm going on and on about how much I love the N63 with the way it sounds and the way it performs, it's just effortless acceleration. Just here we go again. You know, it has had some troubles. It started in, I want to say, 2009 or 10 with the F017 series. And as BMW V8s always have been, kind of maintenance heavy and slightly problematic. There's been oil leak concerns, there's been coolant leak concerns. Many 8-cylinder BMWs over the years and 6 cylinders have had cooling system issues. With a lot of plastic components used, and that might be part of the reason, but you know, the N63 actually had a customer care campaign issued, which was something that was essentially a recall for many different engine components that strengthened some of the internal components of the engine and resealed parts of the engine and replaced certain components with higher quality re-engineered components so that anybody from 2010 to, I want to say, probably 2016, or at least most registered owners of any BMW that ended in 50i like this, anything from a 750 to a 650 or an X5 with the 50 designation, which means the 8, was able to go into a BMW dealership service center at one point and have all this work performed and all these parts replaced with no cost to them. To my knowledge, that fixed a lot of the issues with these, and you know, ever since then, they have made all the newer N63 motors really strengthened, and they cost a good deal more in the pre-owned market as well. And you know, you want to make sure you get a nice one if you're buying one pre-owned. One of my big points of this video is that a lightly used X5 5.0 like this, xDrive 50i, is an excellent value for someone looking for a fast SUV. Because while this might not quite have the 500 plus horsepower rating that some of the big leaguers do, the autobiography supercharged Range Rovers and the AMG GLE Mercedes, the 63s, or the X5 or X6M, you know, they do have, like I said, 445 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque stock. And those are very respectable numbers. You know, the handling in these is also excellent. That's another thing I want to talk about here, is that when you put it in sport mode, not only does the gas pedal respond a lot quicker and the car kicks down quicker, but you have you have tightened up steering ratios as well. Here we go. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Oh, but it really tightens up the steering effort, and you're going through corners. I'm going through some light corners right now on this kind of somewhat straight section right now, but I've been going through some gentle ones. It really builds up the steering effort beautifully. It might feel a little artificial, but it just grips the road like a BMW sports sedan. Oh yeah. I mean, and then you hit the gas and they're just so fun to drive. I mean, especially if you can get one of these with some remaining warranty like this one, or maybe buy a good extended warranty, or a good Euro mechanic that can work on these. This could be a one-car do-it-all for enthusiasts like me, maybe. I'd love to have one someday if I feel like I had the right situation, because it's fast, it's techy, it's got, for a 2017, this still stacks up pretty close to what a lot of modern, luxury and fully loaded mainstream makes will offer in terms of features and technology. Granted, it was nearly $90,000 when it was new. And here we go again. Woohoo! Well, that is the 2017 BMW X5 xDrive 50i. And hopefully I painted a little bit of a picture of why this represents such an awesome performance SUV bargain. Between the technology, the luxury, and the performance that this car offers, this is a lot of car for the money compared to the competition. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. If you like what you see, please do consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.